Hey, Book Dragons, I'm so glad you're here with me today. It's the time of year where I start to evaluate how I did with my reading and my goals in general for the year. We're coming up to the end of 2025, and so it's time. And I'm going to take a look back at my goals for 2025, and we're going to see how I did. Now, if you want to see my original video where I talked about my plans for 2025, I'll put that on the end screen so you can click on that. Not saying you're really interested in that, but if you are and you want to compare the two, then have at it. But I'm going to just kind of talk in general about what my plans had been, and we'll compare to how I actually did, okay? So we're going to get right to it. If you need snacks or drinks, pause the video, grab those now, and then come back and sit with me for a spell, okay? All right, so first of all, let's talk about my Goodreads goal. I actually blew my Goodreads goal out of the water. I only set 40 books on my Goodreads goal this year, and so far I've read 47 books. So I really did well. I went over and above my Goodreads goal for the year. So that's good. And I've got 2 more books left to finish for the year. So I might even hit 49 if everything goes according to plan, but we shall see. So far I'm at 47 out of 40, and that's pretty good. We're going to start with the goals that I did complete for the year, and then we'll move on and talk about goals that I did not complete, okay? So the first one of those is to read Shogun. And I did read Shogun. I had an absolute amazing time reading Shogun. It's one of my favorite books of the year. Side note, I have a video coming out about my top 10 books of the year, not too far in the future, so keep your eye out for that. But spoiler alert, it did make that list. And yeah, I was so worried about Shogun, but it actually ended up being a really good book for me. So I did read Shogun. I also read A Drop of Corruption by Robert Jackson Bennett. That was my absolute must-read book for last year, or one of them. And I did it. I had that goal set, and I did read that book. And I'm so glad I did. It's an amazing book. Highly recommend it. So yes, that was a success. And my next goal was to read the Rainwild Chronicles by Robin Hobb. This is the 4th series in the realm of the Elderlings. And I did. I completed that and absolutely loved the Rainwild Chronicles. And I can't wait to finish that series. I did read more Patricia Meredith as well. Now, I only read 1 book of hers, but one is still reading more Patricia Meredith. I read All Cupboards Bared. It was a good book. I enjoyed it, and I'm looking forward to completing the trilogy. It's the Spokane Clock Tower Mystery Series. I had also wanted to read her next book in the Sam Shovel Mysteries. I don't know if I'm going to get to that this year. That's her Christmas mystery series with lots of Christmas Easter eggs. It's a lot of fun, but I didn't get to read it yet. I will, though, eventually. Just maybe not this year. And then another goal was to read Empire of the Dawn by Jay Kristoff. And I did. I recently finished Empire of the Dawn, in fact. And I really, really enjoyed it. I'm so happy I got to read the finale of that series. And I will have a book review for that series coming down the line. I'm still kind of processing my feelings on it, though. So more to come on that. And then I had a goal to read more Hercule Poirot novels. And I did that. Hercule Poirot, of course, is written by Agatha Christie. And I read more of those books this year with my friend Mona Lisa over at Mona Lisa Reads. And that has been amazing. There have been a few books that I was kind of like, oh, that wasn't the greatest for me, but I'm still really enjoying my journey with Poirot. So More to come on that. Oh, and just as a side note, I did a buddy read on the Rainwild Chronicles with my friend Danielle over at Bookcara. I didn't mention her earlier, so I'm mentioning her now. There you go. I had a goal to start Sun Eater, and I did start Sun Eater. I started it. I started Empire of Silence. I got 30% in and I put it down. I'm not saying I won't go back and finish it, but it just wasn't clicking with me at the time I started reading it. I will probably go back and finish it and see if I want to continue reading the series. But I started it, so that's a goal completed, right? Right? Right. I started reading the Elric novels as well. I started with Elric of Melniboné, and I liked it pretty well. I read the first book in the collection, and it was fine. So I did complete that goal, and eventually I may read more of Elric, but it's not a high priority for me. I had wanted to try it out. I did. I enjoyed myself just fine, and I will eventually read more of it, but just not anytime soon. I've got other higher priorities. And then I had a goal to read more from Kindle Unlimited because I do pay for Kindle Unlimited. It's kind of like I'm donating money to Amazon at this point because I don't use it as often as I should, but I did utilize it, and I read 2 books on Kindle Unlimited. One was The Kaiju Preservation Society by John Scalzi. I did that on audio and on ebook, and I did that through Kindle Unlimited, so I did just fine there. And then I also did Pet Sematary on Kindle Unlimited. And I was really glad that I did Pet Sematary that way because I wasn't sure if I could really convince myself that spending money for Pet Sematary was worth it if I wasn't sure how much I would like it. So I'm glad I did Kindle Unlimited, and I did enjoy Pet Sematary for the most part, but I don't think I'd read it again. And so that's where Kindle Unlimited comes in really handy. And I just wish that Amazon would bundle that in with their Prime services instead of making it a separate subscription, because it is really convenient. I have explored the Kobo version of, they call it Kobo Plus, I think. I've explored it. They don't have as many books on offer, and I just don't know if it's worth it to spend the money for that versus continuing to pay Kindle Unlimited. But I don't know. I haven't decided on that yet, but I did meet this goal. I read 2 books in Kindle Unlimited, so that completes the goal. And that's the end of the things I did complete. Now let's talk about what I did not complete. And don't worry, I'm not slapping myself on the hand or pinching my wrist or anything like that, torturing myself because I didn't complete these goals. I just didn't complete them, and that's okay. I'm a firm believer that it is okay to not always be able to do everything that you originally planned to do so as not to put too much pressure on yourself. But these are books I still want to read, okay? So as far as what I did not complete, I had planned to finish The Expanse this year, and I did not. I still have, 3.5 books left in the series. I'm halfway through book 7, and I had to put it down, not because I wasn't enjoying it. I just had other more pressing books on my mind at the time. I'm a mood reader, If I am just not fully invested in the book, I will set it down and come back to it at a later time. I have 3.5 books left in The Expanse, so I didn't complete it. Shades of Magic. I had planned to finish the Shades of Magic series this year, and I did not. I've still only read A Darker Shade of Magic so far, but I do hope to read the rest of the series eventually. And if I like the Shades of Magic well enough, which I'm pretty sure I will, then eventually I'll start reading The Threads of Power. But I may wait for that series until she has finished writing it. We'll see. We'll see. I had planned to read The Lord of the Rings this year on audio, do a reread of it. And this is one that I have kind of completed. I haven't fully finished The Lord of the Rings, but I have read the first 2 sections. The Fellowship of the Ring and The Two Towers are both complete. So now I'm just trying to finish the 3rd book, or the 3rd section, rather, Return of the King, and I'm probably going to do that next year, okay? So I didn't complete the goal, but I kind of made progress on the goal. So that's a half and half. I also had planned to read The Lions of Al-Rasan by Guy Gavriel Kay, and I did not. I really want to read more Gavriel Kay, but I didn't do it. I am hoping to do that next year if I get to it. So that is still a goal, to read that book. I also had planned to read Gleanings. This is the collection of short stories that is related to the Scythe trilogy by Neil Shusterman. And I really love the Scythe series, and I really wanted to get to Gleanings this year, and I didn't. Eventually, I will be reading Gleanings, and now he's got a prequel coming out. I don't know when. Maybe it's going to come next year. It might come next year. Who knows? But I'm very excited to see what else he's got coming out for this world, because it's really, really good. And I do need to still read Gleanings. So there we go. I had planned to read the New Dresden Files book by Jim Butcher. If it released this year, there was a slight chance that it would have maybe released in 2025, and it didn't. It's coming in January 2026. So that was a soft goal because I didn't know when it would be coming out. No harm, no foul there, because it's coming out, and I will be reading it next year. I will be reading that one on release day. I already talked about that in a previous video. If you saw my upcoming releases video for 2026, it's on there. Spoilers. So yes, that is coming. I had also planned to read Kushiel's Dart, and I did not. I do hope to eventually read it, but I didn't get it completed this year. And it's, for a paperback, it's pretty chunky. So maybe that was a good thing, but I've heard so many good things, and I do eventually want to read this. So there we go. The High Druid of Shannara trilogy is another book I had planned to read, and I did not. It's going to happen eventually. I don't know when. Maybe next year. But I do want to get back to the world of Shannara and eventually read everything in the series. But I don't know when that's going to happen exactly. I had hoped it would happen this year, and it didn't, and that's okay. I want to read more R. Scott Baker. So that is the second Apocalypse series. I did read the first one, The Darkness That Comes Before, a couple of years ago now. And it was good. I really enjoyed it. But it was a lot of work to read. And I had planned to continue reading that series this year. I had only really, in my mind, committed to reading one other book in the series, so book 2. But it didn't happen. And that's okay. So maybe it'll happen next year. We'll see. I had also wanted to start reading Janny Wirtz. That's the Wars of Light and Shadow series. And I also want to really read To Ride Hell's Chasm. I've heard that's a really good book, and it's a standalone. It's a good way to introduce yourself to her, I've heard. So I do want to read that series eventually, but I did not get to it this year. So there's that. And then I had also planned to read, like I always talking about planning to read, John Gwynne. I keep saying I am going to read either The Banished Lands or the Gods trilogy, whatever it is, Shadow of the Gods, and yeah, that series. And I didn't. I didn't touch anything by John Gwynne, even though I keep meaning to. I keep meaning to, but it didn't happen. And that's really okay. Eventually, I will read John Gwynne. I probably better get it read soon because I'm not getting any younger, right? But I've still got years left on me. I mean, hey, Dick Van Dyke just turned 100 years old. So if Dick Van Dyke can do it, I can do it, right? Right. Okay, so that's the end of my reading goals that I did not complete. Let's talk about channel goals, okay? So one of my goals was to hit 2,500 subscribers. And I didn't. And that's okay. I'm not really in this for the numbers. I'm just in it to have fun and talk about books. Numbers are cool, right? But it's not like a huge deal if I don't make that goal. But if you want to help me toward that goal for the future, go ahead and like this video and subscribe. I'd love to see you around on a more regular basis. So if you enjoy my content, hit subscribe and join me. And that will help toward that goal. I also wanted to hit my watch hour goal. And I kind of did this. I hit the 3,000 watch hours goal. And the way YouTube does it is it's a rotating 12-month cycle. So, you know, you have to hit a certain number of views in a 12-month cycle, watch hours rather, in order to be monetized. And there's two tiers. I hit the first tier, which is 3,000 watch hours. And so that got me partially monetized. That's cool. But it doesn't get me ad revenue, which is the 4,000 watch hour tier. And I was close, guys. I was at 3,300, and then it just kind of started spiraling down again, which is fine. That happens. It's just the nature of the beast, right? But eventually, I'll get there. I'm not too worried. But yeah, one of these days, I'll hit that watch hour goal. And then I wanted to do more Chasm Friends. So that's my episode, that's my live stream series where I just talk with other YouTube creators, other booktubers, and get to know them. I did one this year, I believe. Oh no, maybe I did two. But I didn't do that many, and I do want to get back to that eventually. So look for more of that in the next year, okay? And then writing goals. I fell into a huge writing slump this year. So I had some writing goals. I was going to set dedicated time aside every day to write books, and I didn't. I was going to make it part of my morning routine, and I didn't. And that's okay. If I don't feel like writing, I don't write. You know, you hear people say, oh, writing is my lifeblood. I can't imagine not writing. It's not quite that way for me. I enjoy writing and I love telling stories, but I don't put pressure on myself to write. And I feel like by setting that goal, I set myself up for failure, kind of, you know. And that's the nature of the beast with goals sometimes. So it's totally okay. I didn't meet my writing goal, and that's okay. But I did make progress on the next story that I really want to focus on telling. So that's a good thing. I did not do my quarterly writing check-ins. Well, no, I take that back. I did do one. I did one quarterly writing check-in at the beginning of the year. It was either the end of March or the beginning of April, I think it was. And that's okay, you know. So I guess I met that goal, right? And then I was going to do ChazoWriMo, you know, my own version of NaNoWriMo, do 1 month where I just set aside that whole month to focus on writing. And I didn't do that. You know, it's, again, one of those things where having something rigid like that doesn't necessarily interest me, I discovered. And so I'll figure out some way to get more writing in. And I do want to get more writing in this year. I have a book that I am focusing on now. If you watched my random chazziness video recently, you'll know that I have got a project that I'm seriously working on. So more is coming. It's just not going to be as rigid. Rigid on myself anyway. So there we go. And then I did have a life goal, and that was to design my tiny home. Because eventually I wanted to do a tiny home. Now, if you watched my Random Chazziness video, you know things are changing a bit. I'm going to be moving with my partner to Washington, and there's going to be a house involved with that. So it's not necessarily going to be a tiny house, but maybe something like that will happen in the future. I don't know what that's going to look like, but I did design my tiny home. Now, guys, don't laugh. It's just a very rough sketch. I am not a designer. You know, I'm not a drafter or anything like that. I don't know how to draft plans, but I just did a rough sketch on some nice paper of what I would want my floor plan to look like, and then this is what the loft might look like. So I designed something, and I met that goal, and I think that's really, really good. So pat myself on the back, because I did a good job of doing that. So overall, I feel really good about the goals that I did meet, and I feel good about the goals that I didn't meet as well. I'm really okay with this. I've had a very successful reading year. I've read a lot of really good books, and you've heard me talk about many of them, and I look forward to more. So keep your eye out, because I am going to be having my 2026 planning video coming up in the near future. So be on the lookout for that. Let me know in the comments below, how did you do this year in 2025? How did you do with your reading? Did you set any goals? Did you complete those goals? What did your year look like for you? Did you set a Goodreads goal, and did you complete that goal? Tell me all the fascinating news in the comments below. And remember, if you want to watch more of my content, there's ideas here on the end screen. And until I see you next time, make sure you guys read more books.